What's up, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of DEI Diaries with your host, EP. As you guys can see, I'm in a different setting. You know, we're in a Christmassy setting. We're in a holiday mood. It's December the 1st. So, I thought this would just be a cute little switch up. But y'all, let's just get right into this video. So as y'all can see by the title, this video is going to be something else because I've been hearing so much lately from women, from men, that women do not make good managers. Or the times that they have worked under different women from different racial backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, that it has been the worst time of their life. Now, I'm not here to generalize women or to make it seem like all women are just terrible managers, but what I am here to do is to get us to consider different perspectives so that way we can make healthier environments, okay? And one aspect that I've been hearing about a lot lately is that women in the workspace, in different organizational settings, across the board, even in college organizations, institutions, the idea that women aren't very inclusive to other women in those settings. So it made me wonder, like, why is that? Are we as women, are we more comfortable with the idea of womanhood and inclusivity between women? Are we more comfortable with the image of that rather than the work of that? That's really been my question. And it's interesting because I've been seeing this a lot, especially within professional settings between women of different age groups or between generations. So it's like there's younger women who are coming into the workforce and they're feeling as if they don't belong because they have older women in positions of seniority who are making them feel that way. Or maybe there are younger women who are being placed in positions of leadership and they're in positions of leadership above other women who may be older than them, and because of that, those women are also giving them a hard time in those organizational settings or work environments. And because of that, that's creating environments where it isn't very inclusive and it also isn't very healthy. That makes someone not want to go to work. That makes someone dread going into work every single day, and that could have an impact on their mental, spiritual, emotional, and even physical health. So I think this is an important conversation for us just to have, just, woman to woman, girl to girl, and for us to really sit down with ourselves, sit down with our biases, to really unpack this thing, because I've been hearing this far too often, and I know for a fact that women do make good leaders. Women are good leaders. However, just because we are good leaders, that doesn't necessarily negate the fact that people are going through different situations and different things in workplaces and environments that aren't very inclusive or conducive to who they are and even to their professional growth. So I've noticed that there are some women and people who identify as such who believe that because they are a woman, that automatically assumes that they're also inclusive to other women in different settings. And I'm absolutely here to tell you, girl, to tell you, sister, that that is not the case. Just because you are a woman and you identify as such does not necessarily mean that you create inclusive environments for other women to thrive. And I'm concerned that we're more okay with having the image and the false unity of sisterhood and womanhood and being inclusive to other women versus actually doing the work of inclusion. And you know what's funny? I kind of seen this during the election, and I'm not here to talk about your political affiliations or how you should vote or anything of that nature, but I do remember that after the presidential election concluded, there was a group of women who essentially wanted to reconcile the pain and the disappointment and the hurt and the grief that other women were feeling by making bracelets. And I'm not here to shame you if you made a bracelet or anything like that. However, it does make me wonder if we are more committed to the idea of performance rather than to the reality of the work. And the thing is, sister, that can be extremely manipulative because you're taking others out of the middle, or you're taking the actual issues out of the center of what's going on, and you're placing your image or what you perceive to alleviate the situation. And that's manipulative. So it's important for us to actually do the work of consideration rather than being more concerned with us just looking considerate. So it's like we actually have to be real with ourselves. We have to be vulnerable with ourselves to understand and to ask ourselves questions. So a lot of us are moving from a place of bias within these work settings, within these organizational settings, and we don't even know it because we haven't taken the time to really sit down with ourselves and ask ourselves the hard questions. But that's why we have DEI Diaries. That's why we're here now, because you're not going to do this work alone. We're going to do it together. So I'm not here just to tell you about everything that is going wrong or everything that you're doing wrong. No, we're going to do an exercise together, sister to sister, okay? So go ahead and get your journal, go ahead and get your diary, because as you can see, this is DEI Diary. So go ahead and get whatever you feel most comfortable with. You can even use your notes app on your phone, whatever you want to use, go ahead and get it. Now this exercise is going to depend on you to be honest, to be vulnerable, because if you are not honest, if you're not vulnerable, this exercise is going to be for no reason. And again, we're writing this in our diary, in our notes app, so it's not like anybody's going to read this anyway, girl. Okay, so you might as well be completely honest, because not only is it going to be essential to your growth, but it's going to be essential for you to create healthier environments for other women. So again, be honest, okay, girl? Do not be afraid to be honest in this exercise. So first things first, within this exercise, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You can pause the video, write down whatever you need to write down, but we're going to do this together, okay? So question number one is, I want you to think of a group of women who are not like you. So you're going to think of a group of women. It could be anyone. It could be any group of women that comes to your mind. But think of a group of women that you are just unlike. It could be because of your race. It could be maybe your different positionings in work. It could be your sexual orientation. It could literally be anything. But think of a group of women that you are unlike, okay? Now, question number two is, what do you genuinely believe about this group of women, okay? And be completely honest. Completely honest. If that's negative, if it's a mixture between negative and positive, be completely honest. Again, this exercise depends on your honesty, your transparency, and your vulnerability. Question number three is, do you believe you have a bias, or do you believe this can one day form into a bias? So if you believe, and again, I'm going to put up a definition of what a bias is here, so you could really internalize it, really think about it, really sit on this information and wonder and interrogate your own heart. Like, hey, do I have a bias against these groups of women? Or could this one day form into a bias based off of what I do believe about them already? What you believe about these groups of women can be because of what you were raised to think about them. It could be maybe what you've seen on social media or the internet or TV. It could be anything, but really sit and think about what you genuinely believe about these groups of women, okay? And the next question is, what sort of decisions have you made because of this belief? It could be anything. It could be maybe you believe that this group of women or these groups of women are standoffish. So maybe when you were in school or maybe when you were in college, you didn't sit by these specific groups of women because of what you once believed or what you do believe. So answer this question as honestly as you can. What sort of decisions have you made because of this belief? Maybe it's in the workplace. Maybe you believe that women who are more quiet or who don't speak to you first, maybe you believe that they're rude. Maybe it's concluded in how you navigated through the workplace because of that. So again, be completely honest, okay, girl? The next question is, do you believe that your bias protects you? So do you believe whatever you believe about these groups of women, do you believe that it's protecting you from something? Do you believe that maybe if these groups of women, maybe you believe they're standoffish, so you don't interact with them because you believe it protects you from being rejected by them, be completely honest. Do you believe that this bias, or what could one day be a bias, do you believe that it protects you from something? Now, the next question is, do you think your beliefs and decisions are adding to a healthy environment or taking away from a healthy environment? And again, be completely honest. I'm going to say this so many times during this exercise. I want you to be completely honest, okay? And the next question is, what do you think will happen to yourself and to others if you do not resolve this bias or if you do not resolve these beliefs? And the last question is, what can you do today to address your bias? There are so many different ways that our biases can manifest in workplaces, in organizations. It genuinely does not matter. However, what does matter is how people are being treated because of it, how people are being treated because of our own beliefs. And I know maybe at the beginning of this exercise, you were thinking like, hey, EP, like, I don't really even think that I even have a bias. I think I'm pretty good. I think I'm a girl's girl. I think I'm welcoming to other women. But I really want you to look at your circle, look at your surroundings. Does all of the women that you surround yourself with, do they all look the same? Do they all act the same? Do they have similar interests? Do you surround yourself with different women of different sexual orientations or disabilities or shapes and sizes? Be honest with yourself regarding your bias. Having biases is a part of the human experiences, and it doesn't make you a terrible person. I'm not here to shame you or to guilt you into changing, but what I am here to do is to get you to understand that you are not your bias. You are not defined by your bias, but you are defined by your progress that you create in your immediate circles, in your work circles, in your organizational circles, in your family circles, in your friend circles. You are defined by that. You are defined by the work that you do, because we are concerned with the work of being inclusive. And sometimes that isn't just about checking our environment, but sometimes that comes with checking ourselves, our own hearts, and our own biases. All right, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed this exercise, this episode. Please comment down below maybe what you learned, maybe what you took away from it. I'd love to know, and I would really appreciate that transparency and vulnerability that you guys have to offer. And until next time.
The revolution will not be televised, and be no rerun, brothers and sisters. The revolution will be live.